Hey, my name is Pranav, and I am the founder and head baker of a company called Loafer and Company, which is an artisanal bakery based in Malleshwaram, Bangalore. So I don't have official or professional training in as a chef or as a baker. I picked up a lot of skills on my own, and I spent a lot of time in Europe where I got to experience the bread culture there. So when I was living there, I used to get fresh bread from a bakery close to my house, and I used to eat bread almost every day. And so when I moved back, I wanted to make that kind of bread available to people in Bangalore. Initially, it was, just I missed the bread there and I wanted to bake that bread for myself. And I really enjoyed the process of baking bread. And so slowly I started baking, using the, the raw materials that you find in Bangalore and trying to recreate the bread that I used to get in Europe. And so I started baking for myself, then I started baking for friends, and then it grew from there and then led to the establishment of the bakery, which is now called Loafer Co. And it's now, we've been supplying bread to people in Bangalore for the last 3 years. And I think one of the things I was really passionate about also was that we worked with directly with farmers who are growing different kinds of wheat, who are growing different kinds of millets, growing different kinds of rice. We actually have a bread now which has rice in it. And being in South India, it was important to me that we used all these different grains that you find here that are so tasty and so delicious. And I was also really passionate about the fact that um, it was important to me that we use raw material that is grown in a responsible way without any chemicals. And so our bread is a result of this passion, not just for baking but also for using the right ingredients and coming up with a product that is clean and fresh. um, so so that's how I developed a passion for it. So I was very clear from the beginning that I didn't want a name that people couldn't pronounce. Since the bakery was set in Bangalore, we wanted something that was a very Bangalore word. And Loafer was one of the first names on the list, because it was, while we were brainstorming, one of the first things to come up. And it's such a Bangalore word, and it's such a big part of the vocabulary in the city, that it had a very very nice ring to it. It's irreverent in that it's not taking itself too seriously. And while we do a lot of serious work at the bakery, I wanted the image of the bakery to be something fun and not too heavy. I wanted something light. I wanted something that people would see or hear, and it would maybe bring a smile to their faces. So that's how we came up with the name. So at the bakery, we usually follow a 2-day baking process. The first day begins at 9 o'clock in the morning, where I reach the bakery. I have a meeting with my team of bakers, and we sit and analyze and list out the number of orders that we have for the different breads. At around 10 o'clock in the morning, we start prepping all the breads. At the moment, we have about 20 different breads on the menu. and each of these breads is different from each other. So each of these breads has a different process by which it's made. So it's extremely important that we focus on each bread at a time. And so we have the entire first day to prep the different breads and make the doughs. So the first day is basically spent from 9:30 to 7 in the evening. We go through all 20 breads, prep the dough, put the dough in boxes, and then the boxes get stored either at room temperature or in a big refrigerator where they ferment overnight. Then on the second day, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I start baking the bread at around 4 in the morning. The reason being, the reason that we start so early is because all the breads have to be baked, packed, sorted, and then delivered to the customers around the city. So we start at 4 in the morning, and the breads start coming out of the ovens at 5 o'clock or 5:30, and all the way up to 12 o'clock or 12:30 in the afternoon, we are pulling out breads from the oven. By around 1 o'clock, the breads have been packed by the packing team. They've been sorted, put in different bags for different areas of the city. And we have two delivery guys who go all around Bangalore delivering fresh bread to our customers. My day doesn't end there. So I still do a lot of the deliveries myself. And the reason is that it's really nice to be able to take the bread that you've baked, and go to the customers and deliver it directly to them. So I find a lot of satisfaction in that. So I dump a lot of bread into my car. So my car is completely filled with bread. And I take it to a set of communities that I deliver to every week. And between 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening, we have people coming to the car and picking up their orders. So by 6, I'm out of the communities and I head back home. I reach home around 7 o'clock, and that's the end of the day. So a typical day is actually a typical 2 days at the bakery. So my 2-day baking process starts at 9 o'clock on day 1, and by the time I'm done, it's day 2, 7 o'clock in the evening, by which time I'm completely exhausted, and I have a good night's sleep, and then we start again the next day. So that's a typical day, or a typical bake day at Loafer Co. So travel has played a huge part in my culinary journey. I spent a lot of time in Europe, and that was one of the main reasons I was able to experience the bread culture in France and Switzerland and England. And so it influenced, directly influenced the setting up of Loafer Co. because I spent some time in Europe and I experienced and really enjoyed the freshly baked breads that you get there. And wherever I traveled, I think I picked up a lot of ideas, and observed the ways in which people ate. Food has been a huge part of my travel, and I've planned trips to different parts of the world just based on the food. I remember once I went to Singapore and actually followed the trail that Anthony Bourdain had taken when he was there. So he is a legend, and I'm a huge fan of his, and I really believe that food is one of the best ways to experience a new place, because that's a sort of gateway into a new culture. So first off, I think it's absolutely important to be passionate about something, especially what you do. You might be talented, you might have the talent for a certain skill. For example, when I was a child, when I was little, I used to learn Hindustani classical music, and all my teachers that I trained under used to say what a good voice I had, and they used to think that I could go on to become a professional singer. But I absolutely had no passion for it. I was not interested in singing, and I only used to go because my parents used to tell me to go. So after a few years of training, everybody saw that I was really bored. And even though I had the flair or the talent for it, I was not passionate about it. And therefore, there was no point in me pursuing that. So it's absolutely essential that you have a passion for something. You can take examples of great, sports personalities. If a Sachin Tendulkar didn't have a passion for the game, if a Roger Federer didn't have a passion for the game, their talent or their natural talent that they had would not have got them to the top alone. It requires a lot of hard work to get to the top or to become good at something. And you can only put in the hard work if you're really passionate about something. So I don't think, um, talent will uh, get you um, to the top, um, or talent alone will get you to the top. It's essential that you have the passion for it. And I think for a young person, it's important to identify whether you are passionate about something. You might have the talent for something, but you need to identify whether this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life, because it's really important that you enjoy what you're doing, and that will result in you working harder at it simply because you're passionate about it. So it's important for you to think about what you're doing, to actually, um, you know, um, put a lot of thought into whether this is something that you want to do in the long run, whether this is something that you want to take up as a career. Because while you might have the talent for something, you may not uh, have the passion to put in the hard work to be really good at what you do. So, anybody who wants to become a chef, to work in a hotel, to work in a restaurant, should know first off that it's extremely, extremely hard. It's a 24/7 job, probably more than that. It's physically demanding. It's extremely hard. You probably won't get to spend much time at home. If you have a family, you're not going to see them often. If you're working in a commercial restaurant, in a commercial kitchen, in a hotel, you have to sacrifice a lot. So while it is a romantic idea to become a baker or to become a chef or to open your own cafe, to open your own restaurant, it's a huge, huge challenge, especially if you're someone who wants to start something of your own. Not only do you have to handle the food part of it, but you have to handle the business side of it. You have to handle the logistics. You have to handle the IT. As an entrepreneur in the F&B space, I can tell you that it's a lot of sleepless nights. It's the first 2-3 years are extremely, extremely hard, and you really, really need to be passionate about wanting to do this. Um, so I would recommend that anybody who wants to start a cafe or who wants to be a chef first do some kind of training, or do an internship. Get in touch with people who are in the industry already. See if you can go and work in a kitchen. This is what I did. I did not have a background, or I didn't study hotel management. I didn't go to hotel school. I was, I had a science background. I studied biology. And when I wanted to make the switch from my old career to my new career, I approached a lot of different chefs in restaurants in Bangalore and asked them if I could come and work there for 3 months, just to get a sense of what the space is like, what the work is like, and that will give you an idea of whether this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life. So it's extremely important that you get a sense of the work, get a sense of the amount of effort, physical and mental, that you have to put in, and then you can, decide whether this is something for you. It's extremely important for you to know that the F&B business is a huge challenge. It's very unpredictable. It's long working hours. So these are things that you need to know and you need to find out for yourself before you, um, embark on a career in the food industry. Right now, what's happening is that a lot of young people are seeing photos on Instagram of home bakers, of people who are setting up home kitchens. All that is fine. Setting up a home kitchen or doing a home bakery is not very stressful, and you see beautiful pictures on Instagram. But if you really want to make it a career, if you want to make it into something that will, keep you motivated for the rest of your life, you really need to go and work with someone or for someone who is in the business already, and experience the work culture, the work environment, and what really needs to go in to just to, it's important for you to see what actually goes on in a restaurant or a cafe. So I would recommend you do a little internship, maybe, in 2 or 3 different restaurants or cafes, and see what the work is like. And if it is something for you, then go for it. If it's something that you enjoy, then go for it, of course. But it's important that you experience the work first.